Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the 5th year anniversary of the 6mm ARC and why it's kind of taken over for those that are in the know that like to shoot a .243 caliber bullet. Now, I'm going to go over these two rifles completely, and we're going to talk about the cartridge, we're going to talk about some loads that I just worked out, and we're going to end this video by getting out and testing those bullets and those loads for you in first the bolt action rifle, and then in a second video probably the semi-auto. But I always like to check first in the bolt action because the bolt action is obviously safer. It's more beefy and can go to a higher pressure tolerance. So I'll be back in a moment, folks. Let's get to talking. Okay, this is the 5th year anniversary of the 6mm ARC, and the one on top here in the semi-auto MSR platform I've had for 5 years and have shot extensive amounts of projectiles through it and become a real convert to this type of apparatus for both hunting and for just fun shooting. I really feel that Hornady, when they came out with the 6mm ARC, kind of missed the boat. They tended to go with the newer, higher, long, lean, high BC bullets that are heavy for caliber to shoot in this, primarily for the target shooter, the long distance shooter, the competition shooter, but not necessarily for the hunter. I think they missed the boat a little bit about what the .243 caliber, like in the .243 Winchester, is capable of going from a 55 grain bullet all the way up to 105 grain, depending on your barrel twist, etc. It can go higher than that if you have not the traditional 1 in 10 barrel twist, but maybe the 1 in 8. Then you can actually shoot the longer and leaner bullets. But the cartridge case itself wasn't designed for that. Well, that's why they redesigned the 6mm ARC in a short, stubby little situation. I'll kind of show you those pictures over here. And got great velocity out of it. But they missed the boat a little bit because they did not create the caliber for lighter bullets, for the varmint hunter, for the person like me that's interested in velocity and extended range. So today I'm going to be testing two 85 grain bullets that are .243 that are legacy bullets. These bullets are, you know, when they first came out by Sierra, probably came out in the late 70s. One is a boat tail design. I'll show you that here. That is an open tip point, and it is classified as a deer bullet, not necessarily as a varmint bullet. The next one is, you know, Sierra's primary line of a hunting bullet, and that is a flat base bullet with just the lead tip, etc. Now, personally, for me, I feel that flat base bullets can fly faster and a little bit more accurate out to an extent of probably 300 yards. And that's when the boat tail design with its slippery aspects kind of takes over after that. Over here is lever evolution. I've had the most success with lever evolution out of the 6mm ARC in terms of getting speed, not necessarily accuracy, but in terms of getting the premier velocity for this cartridge. But I'm going to test it in there first, and if I don't have any pressure signs, then I'll follow that up by taking it out in the MSR and shooting it in that also. But the limit pressure limit range of 52,000, 62,000 is huge. So you want to obviously be real careful about mixing your ammo if you have these two types of setups. Okay, folks, just a quick clarification on my screwed up terminology in the first part of this video. Okay, pounds per square inch has to do with the SAAMI specifications for chamber and cartridge types. 62,000 for a traditional bolt action type of rifle, 52,000 for the MSR AR platform, and that has to do with the bolt configuration itself. Now, Hornady themselves refer to in their reloading manuals as to loading minimums and maximums based upon those two types of pressures. Okay, muzzle velocity. Muzzle velocity has to do with the initial velocity out of the barrel. Obviously, due to physics and gravity, it slows down the further out you go, and I think you already knew that through your ballistics tables, which is very important to study. Okay, then foot-pounds of energy on target has to do with the distance, has to do with the velocity, has to do with the bullet type. It is vastly recommended by the hunting community that 1,000 foot-pounds of energy minimum for deer size game and 1,500 foot-pounds of energy for elk and above. Now that depends on obviously how good of a shot you are, but that gives you the guidelines. So when I say PSI, foot-pounds of blah, 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 you know that my intentions are good. All right, so let's go ahead and get out, get to shooting. All right, let's just get right after it. First up is the flat base Sierras 85 grain with lever evolution. Now just a quick word about the conditions today. It's cold. It's 20 degrees, about a 60% humidity, a little bit foggy. Wind is about 10 miles an hour, and I want to get this done quick because it's cold. My hands ain't working real well. All right, just a word about lever evolution. It's a great powder for the 6mm arc. Gives fantastic speed, and we're going to test that today. But it's also not temperature sensitive. So 22 degrees as opposed to firing it in the summer, use your caution. It's also a very dirty powder. So it requires a thorough cleaning of your barrel after your shooting session. All right, so here we go. Let's get going here. First 3 shots be the .30-02 right off the bat. Check that case out. Looks really good. Wouldn't it be nice to hit 3100 with this? Wow. It'd be right up there with the 243 Winchester. .3120 on the second shot. So it is a spiky powder. All right, third shot of the first group, 3120, folks. Woo! And that dropped clear down to 29.91. So I don't know, might be those old bullets, but okay, so let's go ahead and reset up, move on. I'll just bring you in for the last 3. 85 grain Sierra flat base bullets. That last standard deviation was real good. Don't worry, we'll go over the target as usual at the end. So let's get going here. The only problems I have a little bit with these little short ones is the cycling, because they're really short fat bullets, not the long ones that the arc was designed for, but they're shooting good. Alright, so now let's switch over. 3078 on that last one. Alright, so let's switch over now to the hollow point boat tails and check her all out. Okay, now we got the first go with the hollow point boat tail. According to Sierra's data, these are set in a little bit deeper, even though they're a longer overall bullet. I don't understand that, but Sierra knows their bullets, so we're just going to go with that. Alright, first 3 and last 3. You know the drill. Let's see what happens here. Same exact loads that we did for the flat base. Let's see if there's a velocity difference. New target over to the right. $29.91. Case looks good. A little bit of a ejector mark on there. I won't pay attention to that. Alright, 3004 on that last one. Alright, was reset up for the last three. Be right back. Alright, here's the final three of the hollow point boat tails, 85 grain Sierras. Third final shot, thank God. Cold. That was 3077. Okay, let's wrap this up, get back to the barn, do the analysis, check things out. See you soon. Okay, let's go over these numbers with this target here. Over here is the 85 grain Sierra flat base. Over here is the hollow point boat tail. Lever Evolution powder, same loads. Okay, so starting out here, 3038, SD of 58 because I had one that went clear over 3,125 feet per second. But a pretty good group, 0.549. All of this is at 100 yards. Okay, average 3004, SD of 21.429. Then down here, average of 3058, SD of 15, and the best group of the day, 0.345. Okay, then over here with the hollow point boat tail, 3007, SD of 13, 0.506 group, 3054, SD of 11.601, and then the worst group of the day, 3080, SD of 10 though, 0.745, and again, my fingers were cold, folks. That could have been on me. So what I've come down to as far as these legacy type bullets being used in a modern type of cartridge, I don't know. It might take more testing to figure that out, because the recommended COL on the 85 grain hollow point boat tail was 2.050, whereas the normal for the 6mm arc is 2.260. So, and same over here, 2.100. The recommended normal is 2.260. So the legacy bullets, they obviously shot fine, but if you're having trouble with your chambering, that kind of nullifies it, unless you don't mind shooting, being a single shot shooter. Okay folks, so if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave a comment if you will. But no matter what, as always, may God bless you all. See you again next time. Goodbye.